All right, you're on.
All right, I'd like to call to order this special meeting of the Board of Finance for September 20th. We'll start by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, public comment. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Ian Keem. I'm at 5 Thornbrook Drive. I'd like to thank the board for all you do. I may have missed it, but the document attached to tonight's to the minutes doesn't highlight the proposed Board of Finance changes for tonight's discussion. If there is a summary listing of the specific changes that are being voted upon, could that please be made available to the public in advance of the meeting? Some of the existing Board of Finance charter sections are unnecessary and inappropriate. They certainly have nothing to do with town finances and are in conflict with the town charter. Specifically, Article 20, Section 1 is in conflict with the town's charter. The town's chief executive officer and the Board of Selectmen control employee staffing for the municipal side per the town charter. No one on the Board of Finance is qualified to counsel employees on their legal rights or employment rights. Brookfield has a personnel department and a personnel director who is qualified and paid to perform that function. Employee counseling and hiring should never be a function of the Board of Finance. It's an obvious conflict of interest. And the Board of Finance has more than enough work to do without wading into the counseling area. I urge the Board of Finance to strike Article 20, Section 1 completely from the Board of Finance charter. Any issues concerning this may simply be included in staffing discussions under normal business or in executive sessions as appropriate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we're on to communication and correspondence.
We have Andy Correa, Jessica Hansen, Denise Rice, Rob Scalera, Ashley Schutz-Bell, Cheryl DePoy, and Tara Carr.
Thank you. For the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the August 9th, 2023 regular meeting minutes.
Second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye.
I'll abstain since I wasn't.
All right. For the first selectwoman, she's not here, so we move on to the BOE financials. Mr. Belden gave us an email that tonight he has a meeting with the Board of Ed because we moved our meeting to accommodate having enough people. On the finance side, we had appropriated them money that they went through the proper process, went through the Board of Selectmen to us. We appropriated the funding. They came in $7,000 less than the appropriation. That $7,000 remains in the general fund. There's nothing that has to come back to us. It's just status quo. They didn't spend it, so they didn't get it. So they brought it in the number they had anticipated in. They worked hard with us as a Board of Finance to make that all happen. So I think we ended the year good. Marcia, you want to add anything on that?
No.
Perfect.
Oh, great.
Revenues and expenditures.
I am having a hard time connecting here. So I am going to print this, I guess. It seems to be the connector and not the settings.
You didn't have them printed out in here either, do you?
No, because I finished them about 5 minutes before we started. Okay, so just going, before I get to any pictures, that the 2022-23 update is the draft financial statements have been completed. It is mid-September. Things that have to be addressed in September at the meeting tonight, we're going to talk about bonded capital, cash capital, and ARPA potential transfers that would affect last year's statements. Next month, because they just didn't have it in time to get on the agenda for the selectmen the first of the month, is operating and transfers of revenue and transfers of expenditures. And you've got copies of those in the packets. And I have to do management's discussion and analysis, and then the auditors need to sign off. So that is 2023 year end. 2024 year end, the revenues, I haven't had time, we've had auditors here for 2 weeks, I haven't had time to do the budget actual for revenues for August yet, but I know the highlights that in July and August, we've collected the highest amount of taxes that we have in the last 7 years as a percentage. And I think part of that is because we have had a tax sale scheduled right in August. And we just have to be a little bit careful that the graphs and things are based on the cash basis and tie out to the tax collector reports. But we want to remember that July and August for back taxes, like those tax sales, will be last year's revenue and not this year's revenue. So it's too early to say, oh, this year's we're going to be over budget on taxes. We could very well be under budget. It's just too early to tell. The state sent out their final numbers for the state budget for revenues for us, and our revenues, the pilot, payment in lieu of taxes, that's an abbreviation, is 2,000 higher. The LoSiP, they were fighting about that at the time we passed our budget, it's $54,000 higher. The education cost sharing is 36,000 higher, and municipal revenue sharing is 64,000 in total. Last year it was 468, but 64,000 in total. But if you remember, that's one that CCM says don't count on seeing it until you actually get it. So that should be coming in the next 6 weeks or so.
ECS one is the one that comes back to the town, correct?
Yes.
Not the one that goes directly to the
Nope,
schools.
correct. That's excess cost. But
Correct.
ECS
Yep.
is what
Just
comes
wanted
to
to
the
be clear.
town. So these are all in the town's general fund. If we get that 64,000, the total will be an increase in our budget of 156,000. So that's good. I didn't talk about interest because I don't have the schedule, but we always want to remember this year that we're concerned about the interest and a rebate on arbitrage. And we had talked in June about hiring someone to come in. When we took out the bonds, we thought we were going to spend them in 18 months. We had 24 months to spend them. The concern is the school was delayed a year and we're under budget. So we're a little worried that we may have to pay something back after 5 years in a rebate. But I'd like to calculate that as soon as we have a better idea of when the school's going to be, budget is going to be completed. And where it will end up. So every time we talk about interest this year, we want to keep tempering because our 2-year mark where we wanted to have spent it is at the end of October.
What's the latest on that? I mean, they had the abatement issues. Is that all, are we still under budget?
We talked last month. We have another meeting. I think it's either Friday or Monday at 9, and to ask. But certainly there haven't been change orders since then, and we were well under budget at that time.
Okay.
And I've had some people call with concerns about, well, we're under budget, but we still have this, and this to do. The budget anticipates finishing the building. It's not just under budget with the actual as of now. It's the actual as of now and the projected expenditure. Expenditures, we've got budget meetings on Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with each of the department heads to talk about where they stand on their budgets. We have some issues that already that we know about, various legal expenses that for lawsuits and things like that. After our encumbrances on a $52,000 budget for the year, we only have $6,000 left after the encumbrances. Going through it with the departments today, that even if no more lawsuits come up, that's probably not gonna be enough. I mean, knowing what they know now, and so that's through the billings through August. The blight legal, we've only spent 1,000, but the attorney's estimate for the 2 cases that are out there is 50,000 for both cases combined, and we have a budget of 15. So I'm sorry, 40,000. We have a budget of 15. So we maybe 25,000 short. Labor legal. After 2 months, we've spent 42% of the budget, and I just haven't had, she was out, the HR director, I haven't had a chance to discuss that with her, but we have a budget meeting set up for Friday. IT, there's an additional cost that is unexpected for something new for the firewall, 2,700, it's in the report. The building department, that we're well through the wages that the wages are set, based on the number of hours. They're going to run out of money, and they knew this up front. They're going to run out of money in November. That registrars, they're looking for money again next month for the primary, to add the primary to the budget. They've got a records update that they need to add to the budget, and then they've got estimates for both of that. Since the primary is over, I've asked them when he comes to the budget meeting to bring the final costs. And then early voting, we don't have an estimate for that yet. They're still working on figuring that out. All those will cost us extra money. Where we have savings, only one spot so far is the fire marshal assistant, but there was a delay in hiring, so we have some savings in salary there. Other things that we don't know about yet, the center school building, we thought it was going to be turned over to us in August. So far it hasn't been turned over to us. So that's was a big unknown when we set the budget, and it continues to be a big unknown of what that's going to be. The only good news is, so far it's going to be less months than what we thought we were going to be paying for it for 10 or 11 months, and now it might just be 9 months. And then the last one that was brought up at the selectmen's meeting is a communication tower lease that's looking for $3,000 a month. And according to the contract, it starts when we put equipment on it, which won't be for a long time, or 60 days after it's signed, whichever comes first. So we have to.
We've signed it.
We
have not signed it.
We have not signed it. That they had said at the selectmen's meeting that she said she didn't know when the payment started. I talked to her about that. That it does say that it's 60 days after it starts, and she was going to try to get that changed.
And where in that is, there's nothing in that for the budget right now?
There is not. That the last I knew, I thought that the communications tower was free, that they were going to let us put our stuff on that for free.
That's what we understood as
That's what we
well.
understood as well.
Okay. So that's the current year revenue and expenditures. The audit update, the schedule, the field work will be completed tomorrow. That includes the audit and the EFS, that's the Board of Ed reporting that they do a special report on. That will be completed tomorrow. We're looking to issue in mid-October, as soon as you approve those, as soon as they're done with their reviews, and to approve the operating transfers. It's not a competition, but last year, the first municipality that issued wasn't until November. And the year before, there were 2 that issued before November. But so if we could get this out in mid-October, that would be pretty special. And the reason that we're getting it out so much earlier this year, 2 reasons. One is I've been doing 60 hours a week for a lot of weeks because I just wanted to get it out of here. And 2 is we didn't have bonding this year. So usually in the summer, I have a huge chunk of time preparing the official statement. So those were the reasons for going forward, and glad Dan's not here to say it's gonna happen next year too. I'm not sure it's gonna happen next year too.
Well, Dan will be your partner hopefully next year
Yeah,
as well.
I told him about it so he could update his report, and I said, I hope you're excited about it, because nobody else seems to be too excited about this, nothing. What I'd like to request is if I could present the financial statements. I did it about 2 years ago, and had a PowerPoint on just a walkthrough of the financial statements and some key performance indicators where we can compare us to other towns and things like that.
Sure.
And I thought December would be good, they'd be done, and we potentially, or I guess we will, have new members, and it would be a good introduction into the financial, into the finances by
Go to a bigger room.
doing that. That'd be good, and it
Go
was
to the
well
high
received
school.
last time.
Okay.
As far as the results of the audit, I'm not expecting any comments on the town or Board of Ed.
Good work. Good work.
Other items to note, that new laws affecting education, that there's a teacher's pension task force, and the reason this has to do with the Board of Finance, they've been talking about this for years, but this teacher's pension task force includes a charge to determine whether and how much a municipality should contribute towards our pensions. That if you look this year in the financial statement, I hope you do, towards the end, we talk about risk, and the state of Connecticut, we have spent $18 million is how much they funded us directly this year. $9 million is from grants that we have spent, and the other $9 million is they pay our teachers' pension on our behalf. And so if they say, oh, we only want you to pay, 10%, what a bargain, that's still $1 million. So that is very significant to us, to watch that. And not only that, is that what they paid during the year, the expense during the year was $9 million. They paid less than that because that's why we're in the hole so much in the teacher's pension, we being the state of Connecticut. That if we have to pay 10%, we also pick up 10% of the liability on our financial statements. So again, and that liability is 95 million, I think, numbers in the statements. So again, we'd pick up a $9.5 million of liability. Of course, every town in the state would too, but it's a pretty significant deal if we have to pay any, and they're looking into whether and how much we should contribute.
They talked about that like 3 years ago.
They've talked about it a number of times, yes.
But our part was only like 130,000 or something. I think it was 3 years ago.
Correct. There's Board of Ed member training that's required under Public Act 23-167, that new members must complete training on the roles and state-sponsored training on the roles and responsibilities, duties and obligations. But the interesting part to us is on school district budgeting and education finance. I'd love to know what they're teaching, if I could be a fly on the wall there, but maybe I could. And then the third new law affecting education that seemed to be significant to us is annually, starting February 15th of next year, the state of Connecticut must publish financial information for each school district to allow comparisons between school districts. So if we wanted to say, what are we spending for this, and what is every other town spending for this?
Right.
And they have a similar uniform chart of accounts, we should be able to do some more comparisons than what we have now. Other items to note, we've been working on a capital asset inventory that we didn't have a capital asset inventory that you can tell the auditors used to do our capital assets because it says items purchased in 2007. What is it? So we had a physical inventory completed a few years ago. We updated that. We've compared it now to what the insurance company has. And we have a capital asset listing we used for the first time for our audit this year. I guess last year we used it. We used it for the second time for our audit. And it's updated. And we also have an inventory asset for items between $500 and the capitalization threshold. There's never been a town-wide inventory, so, hopefully the police know all of their guns and rifles and tasers. Now we know it too. And we'll reconcile year to year. We'll continue to have physical inventories once a year to see what's happening. We'll keep it updated, and we're still debating whether we're going to update it every month or every quarter, probably every quarter. They were a little overzealous in my department, thinking, let's do it every month. FEMA, remember that $510,000 grant we received from FEMA? To get that, we worked with a Connecticut subcontractor hired by the state of Connecticut called Tetra Tech. And we went through with them. They said, well, what is this? Why do you want to do it? Can you give us this documentation? And so we jumped through a lot of hoops to get them that. They disallowed some, and we moved on. Then we went to FEMA. They wanted more information. They had questions, some of the same questions. Then FEMA changed the rules, and we had to reapply for the whole thing and redo all the questions. And now we got a call a few weeks ago. Then we received the 510. And we got a call a few weeks ago from Tetra Tech. And they've been hired by the state of Connecticut to audit what we've already gone through. I said, 2 of the 3 of you people are the same people that were here before. But no, I said, we've got an audit coming up with it, so they gave us a list of what they needed. Most of the things, about a page full of the list that they needed, we already gave them, so we just said, 10 minutes later, well, it took a little longer, but this is all the stuff we've already given you, and so we cleared that off. But they're also looking for purchase orders for every purchase. I mean, we had hundreds of purchases, canceled checks for every single purchase, and the vendor ID numbers for each of them. And my team has been pulling that together. They may have already given to them, out of the loop a little bit, but that we have a conference call with them on Tuesday, and we have a conference call with them every Tuesday until it's resolved. But it's just, this is where our federal tax dollars are going, our state tax dollars are going. How many times do we need to go through this?
But on our side, we're good, we're solid.
Well, we think we're good, but, if you're asked for more information and then say, oh, well, wait a minute, with this more information, that, if they say, well, whatever they say, we don't really think, we had to explain to them the door monitors, and it's hard to remember what it was like back then. I said, remember, we used to have to keep a list of everybody that came in, and we had to take their temperature, and we had to be ready to inform them if there was COVID. Those are door monitors. And so if they say now, oh, we decided door monitors are no good, we owe them money back. So it's just a little irritating. Any questions on any of that?
Nope.
All right.
I know.
We're so trained. I
We
know, we
do.
kept looking up at blanks.
Yeah.
So we're all set with you, then the audit's done.
I'm gonna see if it works.
No old business, new business. We'd like to make sure this goes up. We want to put it up on the board under bylaw changes.
If not, if you want to email it to me, I can print it.
I think we all have them, and if you print it out, you can give it to our public
Okay,
Let me
this,
see.
to go over.
Is that wrong? Was it?
I might have to email it to
No, that's
That's
an
not
HDM and with you, yeah.
you. I grabbed the wrong one.
See if I have any more pieces over here.
Does that come across to you?
Yes.
Which is yours? That one, you keep that one.
Marcia, I can email it to you.
I have another dongle here.
Yeah, she needs the,
What's that one?
it's,
We want to take a brief recess.
That's the same.
it's the same one.
Okay. I can just email it to Marcia, and if you don't mind we don't have the screen.
That's what I'm saying.
Even if we can't put it up on the screen, it's probably.
And I'm gonna text Dan to see if he knows why it is not working.
Okay. So the one thing I would like to preface is the copy of the bylaws that's in our packet and that's attached to the agenda actually is the old bylaws. The new bylaws have a bylaws history that discusses all the changes that were made in the document. And that is in a Word copy that I need to make into a PDF that we would post. So I was hoping we could discuss and vote on tonight, but I think we need to have a chance for people to see the changes before we make a vote on it. I can run through, if we have paper packets of the old ones
I
that,
have a sweet portable screen in my office, I'm gonna go get it, if you could help me.
oh.
One of the points that was brought up in public comment, Article 20, Section 1 has been removed.
It's been removed as part of the changes.
It's
and-
already been removed before the public
Yeah,
comment.
and all of the.
We
all-
also agree that that's
It's-
not our purview.
yeah. And the changes you would see if you had the
If we could put
updated
it up on
version
It-
is
but
in the bylaws history. It has
it's
a page, 2 pages
already-
full of changes.
It's already been in
I
the,
think she
Yeah.
put
that
the,
wasn't just brought up, that was already in process.
I think she put the old one up because we were voting on the new one.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of that she.
Yeah.
I think that we can't vote on it unless people can see it.
No,
No,
I
if
agree,
we
I
take it
completely
up on
agree. I'm just
TV.
trying to figure out, if I
don't
think it
wanna
might
do
be,
that.
I'm in agreement with you.
if we
And-
can show, if we can get some of it cast on the screen, I'd be happy to go through what the changes
On
are.
the screen, so
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
can see it, but if people
If
can't see it,
then it's-
words are hard to
Yep,
remember.
I agree,
Yeah.
and we can move it to old business and discuss it next meeting,
Yeah.
when we have, and we'll just make sure all.
So run
the
through it
equipment-
quick, just go
Okay.
through it so people can get a gist of what's gonna be changed.
So, the formatting of the document was really, really bad. So first and foremost, it was formatted so that paragraphs are spaced equally, margins are correct, on the articles, I now used headings so that you actually can navigate through the document with bookmarks and a table of contents. Simple things like that. I am adding a footnote that has what the approval date will be so that people can see that it is the most common, the current version with a page number on it.
Oh my god.
Oh, look at this. Oh, holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the public can't see that screen.
They can't really see this one either.
Oh, I thought when we put stuff up there, they could see it.
Only if I go over and flip it back and forth.
Oh, all right. I thought when we had the stuff on the screens that people at home could see that.
I think that's when Dan sits over there and he flips it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Dan
Yeah,
has to
I can-
go.
Otherwise, I think you see
Yeah,
us sitting
I
at a
think
table
this is a
talking
mute
about a
point.
screen.
But we can see it though. I can put it behind you.
All right.
Yeah, I'd be happy to go through the changes with the board. We'll have it posted to the town website with the changes in the bylaws history and the documents so that the public can review it, which was my intention to begin with. But if
I
we,
actually, that probably doesn't work. Let's go over it. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
I
Do it
would
all.
get rid of it. Personally, I think it's.
This where you want?
Yeah.
It's,
I would say if we table it when,
yeah, I think, no, this,
personally, my thing is,
okay,
well, this
You can
isn't gonna
attach-
work.
we'll do this at the October meeting.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Marcia, no, don't worry about
Because-
it. Don't worry about it.
we'll.
Thank you, though, for your
make sure-
effort.
We can make sure Dan Secor's here and he can have it broadcasting for those that wanna rewatch the meeting that aren't.
I would rather have it be
Yeah.
transparent. We've had people comment about transparency and they're right on that. This should be transparent.
Correct.
Everything
All
should
right,
be,
so
but
we're
this
gonna-
really should be
So we'll
transparent.
post it before next meeting and try to have it more visual
Yeah,
during next.
so I guess just.
Can we post
if
it
you
to
can
these
s-
meeting minutes?
Diane does all that?
Yeah.
So maybe just send it to, email it to Diane,
Yeah,
and then Diane can post it to not only these meeting minutes, but then she could
Yeah.
probably, I can remake, I can agenda, and then she can
Yeah.
do
Do we have
both.
to make a motion to add that to the?
No, we
no,
can add
it's
it
a
to
table.
the,
We'll add it to the next week.
Yeah.
We didn't have a motion written,
Right.
there was a possible motion.
Yeah, I just wrote bylaw change and vote.
so
I can
basically,
make a motion to,
let's list the articles that we're talking about amending
Okay,
right now in the meeting.
okay.
So go through the
Yeah.
articles that we looked
Yeah.
at and that we're changing, because there's what,
Okay.
like only 4 of them or 5 of them.
Yeah, changes.
Other than grammar,
yeah,
Yeah.
which
other
is
than
big.
Grammar
grammar,
and-
there's
yes.
5 articles that we really,
Okay.
or that you, Dan, and the rest of the board really
Yeah.
discussed.
Okay, so Article 6, Section 1, we didn't change the context, we reworded it because it was awkward wording and hard to read. So it had been, nominations shall be made by the members of the Board of Finance after the nominations are, sorry, that was it was, in the event the board is unable to elect a chairman, within 1 month after the election of the board, state statutes allow for the Board of Selectmen to choose officers from the Board of Finance's membership. So we just clarified, its nominations shall be made by the members of the Board of Finance. After the nominations are complete, each member will vote for one nominee, and then kept that section.
Okay.
Article 6, Section 4, added, unless removed by such office by a majority vote of the full board, officers of the Board of Finance will serve until a newly elected board votes for leadership as described in Article 6, Section 1. And it removed pretty much the same sentence, but in awkward wording. We removed Article 6, Section 5, to default to the town charter. It was, where the charter should be the overarching document that we refer to, so that's been removed. Grammatical at Section 8. Section 1 added the report of the Board of Education. Section 12, Article 12, Section 4, we removed all correspondence should be attached to the minutes of the subsequent meeting after having conversation with the FOI officer and per the past history of how meeting minutes are posted. Article 16, Section 1 added that the Board of, the chair can delegate to the first selectman or controller to advise when budget adjustments are made. Currently, it's stated that the board chair would contact the departments, and that isn't how it actually has been happening. We added cost estimates, RFP process, and other procurement activities for the capital in Article 17. Article 14, Section 3 added or core comprehensive review of audit services and costs provided to comparable towns. That's regarding selecting auditors and RFPs for auditors. Article 22, Section 1 removed that the chair shall be responsible for ensuring the timely and accurate information is disseminated to the community and the media. This includes preparation of news releases, interviews, etc. It adds instead that the chair or the designee is responsible for communicating information to the community and the media. We don't have a town newspaper, and that communication is through the town newsletter instead. We added Exhibit A adds before the end of the previous calendar year, talking about the format of the budget, so that a board can't ask the education and the finance teams to change the format of it right before drafts come out. And then Exhibit A, it was just replacing acronyms with full text because we didn't have an acronym dictionary. We added before the end of the previous fiscal year. I missed the Article 20, Section 1 that was mentioned in public comment has been removed because the charter is the overarching document that manages that, and then renumbered the following sections. And then the last piece was in Exhibit A, which is, the tick was the annual calendar, and Exhibit B was updated. Marcia put together a very handy spreadsheet that talked about when we're discussing these things, and just kept it up to date with what the process has been, including, OPEB conversations. It gives some flexibility, but it's much more concise than what has been specified in the past.
Okay. So then we'll put this on the next meeting.
Yep.
You're gonna post the
I'll
changes?
put PDF it, yeah,
Yep.
so the bylaws history, I think, has enough information, it's more complete than what's been there in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, next meeting.
Yeah,
All right, perfect, thank you.
yep.
All right, transfers, we're not really doing any transfers, but we are doing a transfer.
Capital from last year.
Okay, where's that in our packet?
It was sent to you on the 11th, and then again last night. That, I don't know where it is in your
I don't think I
packet.
did.
The one that talks about all the motions?
Yes.
Yeah, she
All
said.
right, so,
But
Go ahead, talk to it, Marcia.
the first one I want to talk about, we've got Loretta from the Arts Commission here, that the selectmen, I think they forwarded to you a discussion on the herons at the Pocket Park. The financial part of that is that when the budget was passed, there was set up $20,000 as part of a reserve. And I just thought we should have a transfer, or at least a discussion that it was okay. They're looking to spend that instead of keeping it as a reserve and adding to it every year for 3 years. That I'm sure they'd still like to add to it every year for 3 years, but they would like to spend it. And if you've got questions, I would, other than the technical things about not being a reserve and being allowed to spend it, I don't know much about the birds.
So the Board of Selectmen approved 14,000. Correct? That's what it's saying.
The Board of Selectmen, but they approved 14,000, but then when you added to it the delivery and,
Lighting and an engineering plan.
thank you. When you added some other things, it came up to, I think,
800 over.
800 over, and then that 800 is coming out of, there's
Streetscape
money in
as well.
streetscape that can be used for it. It's already there.
So I guess the question is because the 20,000 was reserve and it's just been spent, that's the only issue?
That's it.
That's the only question.
And it
Okay.
hasn't been spent. They
Oh.
just want to make sure that it's okay to spend it now when it was set up as a reserve.
I mean, it's meant to eventually be spent, I mean.
Correct.
So,
I just didn't want us to have a reserve and then next year say, wait a minute, we gave you 20, you spent it. I just wanted everyone to know what was
Yeah,
going
same
on.
page. That's fair.
I have no questions. Anyone else have any questions?
The only question I have is, are the herons that I see in the Pocket Park now are the herons?
I don't think so.
But it's not the same herons. These herons are the ones we're looking at purchasing. The cost of the sculpture is $14,000. They are 8 feet tall.
Oh, good, that's what I was hoping.
The one
I
I
was like, it's tall.
Yeah, those were an Amazon purchase. Just
Got
a
it. They're cute.
placeholder. And the grasses, the lovely grasses and plantings around them are getting to almost cover them up. So it's now something that's 8 feet tall will have a better
Yeah.
grace the area with a nice presence.
All right. So we're good on that. All right, thank you, Loretta. The second one is motion number 1. It's highlighted in pink on the motions, and it relates to the report that's highlighted in pink. We're looking to, for the cash capital non-recurring, we're looking to close some projects, and I don't think you probably care so much about the closed projects. That's just money that's left over. There's nothing that was not done. It's just extra money. And we're looking to increase a few projects. The fire marshal vehicle, as we've had a problem with every vehicle, that he can get the vehicle, but he can't upfit it with what he needs. So he needs $7,269 more for that. Cadigan, to try and meet the low bid for replacing the main staircase, we need $1,010. And the library patio replacement, same thing, to meet the low bid, we need $5,630. And that was the base bid. There were also some other options, and they chose not to do the options because that would add even more to it. So we're looking to close 55,000 of projects, 14,000 in increases. So the net of 41,000 would go back into fund balance.
So that's number 1.
That's number 1.
All right. So then I'll make a motion that we approve the transfers between projects of June 30th of 2023 as shown as the attached financial reports from Marcia Marion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do you all understand it? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, number 2?
It's 1A, or 1B, that in the cash capital fund, we need more money in the bonded fund for 2 of the projects. And we can't transfer, we can only transfer between projects of the same year. So we need to take money from someplace else to fund the increases in the budget. One is Streetscape Phase 2. This is an old project that, and it's still being finalized with the Department of Transportation. When we've talked to them, they talk about, we'll get back to you in half a year. That, and they literally say that, but it's been 2.5 years. So we've seen this for years that it's under budget, but we had a $300,000 receivable. So it hasn't come to you because if there was something wrong with that receivable, that we didn't want to say, oh, we asked you for 18 before, but now we need 300. We received the $300,000 receivable in July. So our best guess is we're going to be short by 18,000. This motion to approve a transfer from capital non-recurring to the bonded capital is to move the cash that's going to fund the next, to fund the increase in the budget. So this is just moving the cash. And it's Streetscape Phase 2. And then there's $33,000 for the boys' locker room renovations. That they're looking for $50,000 more, but we have $16,770 left in other projects. So this is what we need to fund the rest of the 50. This was from the MBC that there was some asbestos found, and so they're looking to increase their budget by $50,000. So this is a cash transfer, and we'll do the budget transfer shortly. Does that make sense?
No.
So let's say we have $1 million in the bonded fund for project A. And now we have to increase project A by $50,000. That the bonding is a finite number of $1 million. If we need to increase it by $50,000, how are we going to pay for that $50,000? Well, we're going to have to pull it from another fund, and in this case, we're pulling it from capital non-recurring. So this would be similar to moving that $50,000. So then the next step is to increase the budget by 50. Does that make more sense? We don't want to.
Numbers wise, yes, but why do they need another $30-something thousand?
They need a total of 50. Part is coming because we don't have enough, and the other part is from there. They need 50,000. Most of it is this asbestos issue.
So this is section B of what we're being asked
Yes.
to approve.
1B.
50,000. 1B.
And we don't want to find ourselves like we did a few years ago when John first started, where we had projects approved and not funding to fund them. This makes sure that this.
What's the total on that project?
1 million something. Let me pull it up.
What was the contingency in that project?
There was a contingency that was added last year. The total is $1,322,000. We added 117 to it. Part was to come into the bid and part was a contingency. Let me see if I have that divided out.
And is this the final process with this? Or are they coming back to us for more money down the road?
This is the final process. And there is a letter I can pull up that he sent to the first selectman. Let me pull that one up, that might be helpful.
You can't pull up anything, can you?
I can't, but I can read it to you. I have multiple emails from him, so check out.
Yeah. It's all right. I mean,
At the August 22nd meeting, the NBC passed a motion to request an additional 50. It's primarily due to a number of unforeseen hidden conditions uncovered during the project in the amount of $45,007.13, which includes a single potential change order for asbestos abatement at the cost of $35,000. We are facing some additional potential change orders while this project wraps up. The original, here he gave it to us. The original contract was $1,372,000. The original contingency was $68,000. There's currently $67,861 in approved proposed change orders, and $27,000 in submitted pending change orders. And what they do is a two-step process. Is they get the change order, they label it as pending change order, and approve it once as a pending change order, or send it back to the vendor to be corrected or changed. And then the second step is to actually approve to put it as an official change order. So they have not approved these yet.
and the Board of Selectmen did approve this.
Yes, they did.
Now, is this the one that the Board of Selectmen approved 25,615? And it was supposed to be 51,230?
Yes, I don't know how they worded it. I think they might have said per the attached, but in my, in my wording, I made a mistake. I picked up the total by highlighting it in Excel and looking at the bottom, and I picked up the average instead of the total.
But her letter states we're the fund of 25,615 we're approving.
Correct,
But your numbers say 50,000.
correct, and that was an error that I noticed
She
after.
mentioned it in the email.
She mentioned it in an email.
Right, but this letter we got from the first select woman.
That's correct. I think that we've changed it in the past before, otherwise we just go back to the selectmen to correct it. But that was my error.
What number did they vote on?
The 25,615.
But with the numbers of 55,364?
But both numbers, the 18 and the 33.
51,230.
Right.
Yeah, they had both those numbers, but the motion, I believe, was exactly what I had written, which was unfortunately the 25.
And then I don't understand, it says together with the transfer, the bonded fund provides them the 50,000 needed.
So
but we're funding them 51,230. I'm confused on why,
It was 46,000 they needed.
yeah,
right?
I'm really lost on all these
So-
numbers, so I gotta be honest with you.
So we're funding them 33 and 17.
It says
The-
18 here.
The 18 is for Streetscape Phase 2.
Where's the 17 then?
The 17 is in the next motion, boys locker room. You see the 16,770. So what happens is they need 50,000. When we have a project from the 2022 bond year, and we close it out, it's fund balance for the 2022 bond year. And so we had already closed out, or we will be in this motion if you approve it, so that we had 16,770 of closed out money from that bond year. So that, we can just say, we're reallocating the money from the bond year. So I was able to come up with 16,770 already within the bond fund, but they needed 50, so that the other 33 has to come from someplace else, and that was capital, the cash capital fund.
Is there a timing thing on this, or can we go back to the board of select?
Oh, you can go back, because.
Let's get it right,
Okay,
And my concern is they vote
Let's
on
get
the
it right.
number that,
let's get it
Yeah,
right.
I wanna have it in writing.
okay.
well, the timing would be the locker room. So as far as my thoughts, there's not a timing thing from the financial part, but I'll bet there's a timing thing from the locker room.
We're supposed to be getting COs hopefully this week, right?
I don't feel comfortable.
But that's,
This atmosphere is too difficult to maneuver.
yeah, and I apologize for that error.
And they meet again in less than 2 weeks, right? October
Correct.
2nd?
It's not a matter of that, it's just, I don't want this blown back on us.
Okay,
Just pass what the board of selectmen
Could we move our,
or vote on what they want.
could we move the
No. Well, you can, I won't be available. Yeah, let's,
We can always have a special meeting. if
So,
we need to,
well, what we
just
could
vote on the whole
do-
thing.
is pass, so,
no, let's not hodgepodge it,
okay,
no. I don't wanna convolute it any more than it's convoluted already. It's just a matter of clear records, Marcia, that's all.
That's fine.
We understand the mistake was made, and it's a mistake, it happens, I mean, that's not the problem. The problem is really to trace it, go back to it, the numbers need to be correct from the letter to us, so we approve it to the letter, so we have a back trace to go back.
that's fine. And when I try to follow these numbers, I always appreciate that.
These
Easy to
things
follow.
happen, but I don't, it just is gonna convolute it, and I don't wanna
And
do
the same
that.
thing's happening to us with our bylaws, so.
Yeah.
Gotta make it
It's
right.
the game of the night.
All right, so if we go to number 2, bonded capital projects.
That's number 3 on our list, our meeting
Well, there was a
list.
2A and a 2B.
It's two blue highlighted.
What is this that she sent us?
That's the.
Transfers,
cover sheet.
item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, item 5, and item 6.
Oh, so on your list from Tara, okay, I'm looking at, on my Excel that I sent
It
you.
doesn't match
Yeah, the numbers.
what,
Okay.
what was written out to us and what you sent on the Excel is not
Line up.
line, that's why we keep asking so many,
Got
we're
it.
trying to, you're
Okay.
explaining one thing, I'm
So-
trying to find it on the
This
list.
is the bonded capital projects fund, which is bullet point number.
Yeah, you, and then,
So I would
this
imagine
is
that,
what, yeah, that's the problem, this is what her assistant said, and it doesn't match,
Yeah.
yeah.
None of this matches. We're going from 1s to 1As to 2s to 2Bs, and then we got a summary 1 through 6.
all right, do I have that?
Here,
So
no,
two, yeah, one,
Diane didn't include that.
1 and 2 are
Here.
1A, 1B. 2, 3 and 4, are the bonded capital projects are the
Okay.
Excel spreadsheet 2A,
2
2B.
to be,
And then there's.
3
the
is gonna
other
be
one.
5.
Yeah.
Okay. And, okay. So this is gonna be 3 on their list.
Yeah.
And we're looking to close projects. Again, all the projects are done. We're not stopping any projects. But a total of 27,000 that we're looking to close in the bonded capital project fund. That would fund 17,000 of the boys' locker room renovation, because there's 17,000 left in the 22 bond funds. So we're looking to make those budget transfers. And the difference between the two would come out of fund balance, would be offset by fund balance. Some years, because we have to keep fund balance by year, some years will go up and some years will go down.
So looking at the spreadsheet, blue bonded capital projects, so then the fund balance committed to offset, there's an increase in the 2022-23 projects of $20,822. What is that in relationship to? So I see the 16,770 of the
Yeah,
locker room
yeah.
above, but then below that, what capital project is that that's $20,000 over?
So I wish they would have sent what I sent them, because each
You
one has.
know what, how about we're done with this. Let's table it all till
Yeah.
next meeting. Let's get it where it makes sense, because it's not making sense. None of this is tracking. So let's redo the whole thing and get it where it all makes sense, ties back, cover to the
Yeah.
report.
I feel it's too blindly doing stuff, and that's not.
Did she attach the tables?
No, I only
It's
got
a
this
4-page
worksheet, and you're talking 16,000 number, I don't even have that.
16, it's on the.
You do, you just have it on the,
Oh, no,
it's
other
just,
way.
Oh.
it's just
That
didn't
one.
attach, it was just these, it was tables, but it doesn't,
So it was the reports, but not the tables in the motion.
kind of, sort of, but not.
This is what we.
No,
This
let's,
is more in the
Sorry,
table.
my phone keeps moving on you, but.
No, there's one attachment that had the memo and then these 3
So-
pages of Excel.
On the table that has got the blue highlight at the top,
Yep.
that you can see underneath there, the bond years, that, so that the canopy over the fueling station is bond year 19.
Yep.
And then the one above it is various, but the oldest that we have is 19. So those two add together to 1,042, and you can see that we're putting that into capital project fund balance for 2019. The 2022 numbers, there's 3 decreases and 1 increase. We're taking that and taking it out, the net is money that we need. We're taking that out of the 2022 fund balance. And then the last one is the gym replacement. That's a 2023 bond year. So we're decreasing the budget and we're increasing the fund balance for the 2023 bond year.
Okay, so this is just summarizing the upper part of the table with the
Down
years.
lower.
Where it's gonna go and
So
in
the-
and out of fund balance,
Okay,
correct?
that makes more sense.
Now I'm a little caught up. So the 28, 22 is the 3 wall replacement on the gym.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was trying to figure out what made up that number.
Yep.
But I get it now.
Yes, because we have to keep track of them by bond year.
Yep.
And if you look at the other schedule on the bottom, it's, the fund balance is divided by bond year. What's not, what can I help with?
I didn't realize how addicted we were to the TVs when it's in front of you and we're all.
Pull the other one in again?
No.
alright. And this is item what now?
3.
That's gonna be item 3 on,
The cover sheet.
on the cover sheet. The only issue I have is I'm not trying to skip ahead, but 4 says bonded capital projects transfer additional appropriations to the budgets of the listed projects as shown on the attached financial reports. And then it goes to ARPA. So I think we have a problem with 2. I don't know if we're gonna have a problem with 4.
So I think on 4, because you didn't approve 2, you
Oh,
don't want to increase the
okay.
budget.
Got it.
Correct.
So it's just, there you go, okay.
And they may not have attached the attached financial
They did not.
reports, but they're the same as what I have sent
You
you.
had sent back. Okay.
So the only other piece that I'm a little confused about is on the bottom it has the 38,634, and it looks like it just added up your decrease and it double counted. The
Yeah, it
difference
doesn't-
is
doesn't tie.
11,000. So-
Steve Dunn always asks me what the total debits are and the total credits. So that is the total debits and credits that,
Balance here, 38,634 to 38,634, right?
Just
So
to show
the
that it
increase and the
balances.
decrease.
Yeah, but
It just hodgepodged around. 'cause-
But it doesn't tie to
No.
the top.
Yeah, it double counted, it like added the decrease to it added what
So-
you're adding to the fund balance to the.
it's debits and credits, it's,
Okay.
She decreased the gym by 20,822, and she put it in as an increase. Yeah, so she left them right at it.
Okay.
yeah. Accountants like that, debits and credits at balance, and Steve is always saying, well, what's a total increases and what's a total decreases, so I was trying to appease him and we have it all nice on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So this
Still
38,000
not adding.
is the total increases.
It doesn't add.
It doesn't, it's still not adding, Marcia.
Excel seems to think it does, 16,000, 20,000, and 1,000. The,
38, but above you have 16 and you have 27, right? Shouldn't that tie to the bottom table, or aren't those?
It does, yeah, it does.
does.
It's just hard to read on the phone, it's not, we're seeing it 16,770, so that comes to a sum of the 16,770. She's adding it to the 20,822 and 1,042, which is 36,634. And on the decrease side, she has 27,827 and 10,807, so 37, 38, yeah, 634.
yeah, I'm looking at the Excel formula right now, and it's not average, it's the total. And I only put that because
Yep.
it's not an important number, it's that Steve always says,
That's
you know, when I have,
I see.
Yeah, we're
I get it.
good.
I
All
get
right,
it.
so we can make a motion then to approve the bonded capital project transfers between projects and the bonded capital fund of June 30th, 2023, as shown in the attached financial reports. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion further? All those in favor?
Aye.
we're gonna skip 4 because we don't wanna fund the budget unless
Yep,
we
2 and 4 tables.
have the cash. And number 3 is ARPA.
No, that's number
Oh,
5.
number 5, I'm sorry. The, number 5 is ARPA. And ARPA is, we did get a ruling from the town attorney that there is, that we cannot increase, we cannot increase any of these without going to a town meeting. So we're only closing some of them. The various things for the fire department, something came in at $404 less. Fire marshal training kit, $219 less. Fire EMS stipends, $5,000 less. Still River Greenway design, that there was $24,005 in there, but now that's gonna go through Westcog, and Westcog is gonna pay for that. Buildings condition study, they had 100,000 in there, they went out to bid, and their one bid was, the number of bids, but the low bid was 43,750 less.
So all we're doing is putting this money back into the ARPA fund.
We're putting it
bucket.
back into the ARPA fund, yes.
Okay.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
then I'll make a motion that we close the projects in the ARPA fund as of June 30th, 2023, as shown in the attached financial report. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right, we're on to number 6.
And number 6,
Oh, the Arts Commission.
Is the Arts Commission Reserve.
yeah, the number 6 is what we talked about, and there's no, I don't think, I mean, the Board of Selectmen had to approve the concept. I don't think you approved the concept, but, I don't think there's anything for you to vote on here unless you want to vote to say it's all right to spend the reserve.
Do we need to vote on the transfer from the
They haven't
streets?
approved it yet, though.
Oh,
The Board of Selectmen hasn't approved that yet, right?
But it's already in streetscape phase 3, the
Right.
expenses, so the expenses, nothing needs to be done with the 800 for streetscape phase 3, because it's already in the budget. The budget's already approved. There's 20,000 in a reserve, and it's
So we
just,
really have no say in this. I
other
mean,
than, is it okay for the reserve to be spent?
Yes.
That's what it was there for.
Yeah.
But
so,
to me,
can
there's
we-
a difference between
we
a
invite-
reserve that if we put a reserve away for a fire truck, and then they say, oh, that we're going to buy new sirens for the truck, but wait a minute, that's not what it was intended for, so,
So this is not what
Okay,
this was
can-
intended for.
Can we invite
It
Loretta to
wasn't-
the table?
pardon me?
Can we invite Loretta to the table?
sure, you.
Loretta, would you like to join us at the table and provide some?
But this is in the Arts Commission Reserve.
That's correct. And so the only difference
So
to
it
me
won't-
is it all right if they spend the reserve currently, because it's highlighted in green on the capital budget that this is a reserve, can they spend that reserve currently, and that's it, that there should be a difference between, so like we put money aside for,
Fire trucks.
Yeah.
reval.
Right, I get it, yeah.
Yeah, or track, if, you know, they're not authorized to, you know, do track repairs with that reserve, that we don't, that's a slippery slope. It may not make a big difference here with the Arts Commission, but we need to treat everyone the
But
same.
was
I
the
was
art
the
reserve for art pieces though?
Was the
Yeah.
reserve for
Yeah,
art?
and it's an art
Okay.
piece.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
reserve is for the Arts Commission, because I remember that. So the reserve is
And-
for the arts piece.
Yeah,
so I
but the
don't-
only difference is that you were thinking at that time that it would be a $60,000 art piece funded over 3 years.
Okay.
Right.
That,
And so they have a need.
So if they need any, so if you need any more art pieces, you're just gonna have to show back up at Capitol and with a new proposal, and then it would either go through or not. You're spending your reserve on this art piece, and that's your so choice. So we're not going to. Originally, it was 60,000, and we were gonna keep adding to it until we got to somewhere that you could get all your sculptures. You're just gonna spend what you want on this one sculpture.
Well, we're hoping to have more sculptures in our future.
Right, but you'd have to re-ask for all those because now your money's, you've spent it on a
And
sculpture.
in the future years, it's gone to?
No.
I
Well,
don't
no.
know.
It would just be
No,
a
you just-
request for
It'll just be
capital.
another request for capital next budget season. You'll just show up and say, I would like another 20,000 and here's the sculptures we're trying to do. You're just repeating the process, but we're instead of adding to
Building
it
up
and doing a bunch of stuff, you're just taking it now and doing something with
Buying
it.
above it.
Are we clear? Does that make sense to everybody?
And from the Arts Commission point of view, next year you would have had to come anyway because they're only authorized one budget year.
Correct.
So even though the
It would've
thought
been-
was a
yeah.
little bit for
Oh.
3 years,
Mhm.
they could only authorize one.
So there you go.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
yeah, the money is used what it was intended for.
Agreed.
We just decided to stay within the budget and
Yep.
we're in the position to do a lot of fundraising.
Okay.
You know, we may have to do a little, but,
Yep.
you
I
know,
appreciate that.
fundraising, tens of thousands wasn't really
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
in our future.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if this is the result of this meeting, we are hoping to set a PO for a deposit to get down, but that might be something that I turn over to Greg and his group for.
Yep.
Okay.
This is going in
So
the
the-
pocket park? So
Yes.
sorry.
Mm.
I thought I recalled Greg saying that any statue that went in the pocket park had to get approved by the state.
It will have to, yes.
But this hasn't been approved by the state yet.
No, part of the engineering design, that person who is hired for that will go and do the application for the state.
Okay, so we're approving something that hasn't been approved by the
No,
state.
we're not approving anything.
I
We're just
mean-
gonna go along with the process.
We're just going along with the process. Okay.
Because you would have to get the additional funds transferred, right? The Board of Selectmen still has to transfer additional funds.
No,
No,
no.
they're
But you have it
spending
in
their
the street.
reserve.
No,
So that $800.
what's the $800? Where's that coming from?
The total cost between the sculpture, the delivery, and the engineering design is 800 over their 20,000. And that
Correct.
800 will come from the streetscape where there's money in the budget for it.
But do we need to transfer from the streetscape to say that it's for this art piece, or is it all kind of part of the streetscape and therefore qualifies as an expenditure from
It-
streetscape?
It qualifies for, as an expenditure there, because it's already in that budget.
It's in that budget,
So,
okay.
yeah, so we're just taking it out of two different budgets.
So there's no transfer required from us?
Correct. Correct, and with respect to, if you said, well, we don't wanna say you could spend it, they, because the state hasn't approved it, they would at least need to spend the engineering design so they could bring it to the state.
And they're gonna have to do an engineering design regardless of what sculpture they put
Got
there?
it.
Correct.
Yes, because the state has to approve anything. that
You
goes
mentioned
there.
a deposit, if the state says no, do we get that deposit back?
Well, we won't make the deposit.
Okay.
until the
Okay.
state
Perfect.
says yes.
Okay, so it's almost like this is
We're
a
on
meeting
the
to
same-
ask
yeah.
us to use the reserve because they haven't actually used it yet.
Correct,
Correct, okay,
Okay, got it.
exactly.
okay.
Sorry.
But-
So all we're talking
Yeah,
about
I
is
just wanna make sure
using
you're
their
doing it the right
reserve.
way.
Correct, that's all we're talking about is using their reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I just don't wanna go down a slope that it's $800 over and we gotta do transfers and we're approving something because we're gonna cross that bridge later in this year.
Yeah, no, Greg Dombowski was at this Board of Selectmen's meeting, they pulled him to the podium, and yes, he can spend the $800 out of Streetscape Phase 3.
From my point of view, I think all we gonna say my opinion is, we just say that they can use their reserve for the project.
I
That's
agree.
what I.
And that's all that's
Agreed.
we're asking.
So that's the motion you're gonna make.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that they can use the money in the reserve for this project. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Find a second on that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
Thank you.
any other items? No? Public comment?
I just had a quick one.
You gotta state your name though,
Oh,
please.
Andrew Kame, on 5 Fernbrook Drive. Actually, I hope I share your frustration with this asbestos stuff. We built that high school at a cost remodeled that high school at a cost greater than what New Milford built the high school for. At that time, asbestos was an issue, but apparently it wasn't addressed. We then, later on, spent a small fortune on asbestos abatement in that high school, yet we still have asbestos in that high school. You know, I don't know if we can reach back there, but apparently, something that we paid for, we didn't get. So, that's my comment. And I don't think there's anything you can do about it.
Thank you. Alright, anything else? Thank you very much for your comment. Hearing no other comment, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.